October has a special kind of darkness. The days get shorter, the nights get longer. A cold wind blows through the trees, making the leaves dance like tiny skeletons on the pavement. It's a time when the world feels different, thinner. The space between our world and another world seems to shrink. It's a time for stories, the stories that stick with you, the ones that crawl under your skin. Our first story takes place in a small, quiet town in Oregon. The town was surrounded by a deep, dark forest known as the Blackwood Creek Woods. In October, these woods were beautiful. A young man named Liam decided to go hiking there. He followed a well-marked trail. The tall trees formed a canopy above him. The sun began to set and the woods grew darker and colder. It was then that he heard it for the first time, a soft whisper. It seemed to hiss from all around him. Liam. But the whispers grew louder. By the time night fell completely, Liam had not returned home. Dinner time came and went. Jake called Liam's phone again and again. They organized a search party to head out at first light. They spread out, calling Liam's name. It was there in a small clearing that they found it. It was Liam's phone. It lay on a bed of moss, perfectly clean without a single scratch. Jake's hand trembled as he picked it up. Battery, 98%. Impossible. The last pics were autumn leaves, beautiful. Then one more. Timestamp, 2 a.m., the night Liam disappeared. A selfie. Pitch black, nothing visible. But the metadata held the chilling detail. 2,000 miles away, in the middle of a lake in Michigan. Liam's body was never found. Only one impossible photograph remained. A dark, empty picture from a place he could never reach, leaving a mystery that haunts Blackwood Creek to this day. Our next story comes from a quiet suburban neighborhood in Ohio. It happened to a family, the Millers. Their 8-year-old daughter, Chloe, began talking about a man she called the Waving Man. She said she would see him at night standing across the street. He was very tall and thin, and he wore a dark coat and a hat that covered his face. The most disturbing detail was his wave. He held his hand up and wiggled his fingers very, very slowly. Mark and Susan started to feel a little uneasy. To make Chloe feel safer, they started closing her curtains tightly every night. This seemed to help for a few nights. About a week later, Susan was home alone one afternoon when she happened to glance out the window. Across the street, standing in the exact spot Chloe had described, was a man. It was broad daylight, but his face was hidden in shadow. A shiver went down Susan's spine. She watched him from behind the curtain for a few minutes. He didn't move at all. When she looked back a few minutes later, the man was gone.
That night, Chloe woke up screaming, "He's here! The Waving Man is here!"
Mark and Susan rushed into her room. Mark went to the window and pulled open the curtains. The street was empty, but as he stood there, he felt it too. A strong, undeniable feeling that they were being watched. The next day, Mark decided to take action. He bought a small security camera. He installed it on the window frame of Chloe's bedroom, pointing it at the street outside. The camera was motion activated. It would record any movement it detected. For a few nights, the camera recorded nothing unusual. The Millers started to relax again. The next morning, Mark remembered the camera and decided to check the footage. A new recording started at 2:17 a.m. The motion sensor had been triggered. Then a figure walked into the frame. It was a man, tall and thin, wearing a dark coat and a hat. Mark felt a cold dread wash over him. It was real. The man was real. And then, the man did something that made Mark's blood run cold. He slowly raised his hand. He began to wave, wiggling his long fingers in that slow, unnatural way Chloe had described. Mark enhanced the image, increasing the brightness, wanting to see the man's face. And then he saw it. The man had no face, just a smooth, blank surface, like a mannequin. They moved out of the house the next day. The street returned to its quiet normalcy, but the memory of the faceless watcher remained. Some things cannot be explained, only escaped. But even now, on quiet October nights, neighbors report seeing a tall, thin figure under that same streetlight, waving slowly at empty windows. Our final story took place in October of 2020 at an old hotel in Chicago called the Viceroy. The hotel was known for its classic charm, but also for its share of ghost stories. One particular room, room 312, had a dark history. A woman had taken her own life in that room decades ago. A young business traveler named Alex had to stay in Chicago for a conference. When the front desk clerk handed him the key card for room 312, he didn't think anything of it. He was tired after a long flight and just wanted to get some rest. He went up to his room, unpacked his suitcase, prepared for bed. As he was getting ready to sleep, his cell phone rang. It was an unknown number. He usually ignored these calls, but for some reason he decided to answer it.
Woman crying.
He thought it was a prank call and hung up, feeling annoyed. He tried to go to sleep, but he felt uneasy. He kept thinking about the strange phone call. The room was cold, even though he had turned the heat up. But then his phone rang again. He looked at the screen and his heart nearly stopped. The caller ID showed his own name and his own phone number. He was calling himself. Terrified, Alex stared at his phone as it rang. His hands were shaking. He answered the call.
Hello?
He heard the same woman's voice, louder now. It was right in his ear, as if she stood next to him in the dark.
I see you.
Alex screamed and hurled his phone. He ran into the hallway in his pajamas, down to the front desk, panicked and out of breath. He told the night clerk what happened. The older clerk nodded slowly, sad, unsurprised. He explained room 312 and the woman who died there. Every few years, late October, she tries to reach out. Modern technology gave her a new way. The next day, sleepless, Alex checked his phone's call log. He expected unknown number and his own number. There was nothing. The call log was empty. The room returned to silence, but the echo of that voice remained. To this day, guests in room 312 report strange calls in the dead of night, calls from themselves, carrying messages from the other side. These stories, the whispers in the woods, the watcher at the window, the call from an impossible source, are more than campfire tales. They are fragments where the curtain of our reality is pulled back. They remind us there are things we don't understand. They linger like an echo in a quiet room. So next time you walk alone on an October night and feel a chill, or you think you see something from the corner of your eye, remember these stories. Remember, the world is stranger, sometimes scarier than we imagine. And in October, when the veil between worlds grows thin, Liam's whispers still echo through Blackwood Creek. The waving man still stands beneath his streetlight, and room 312 waits for its next occupant. These are the stories that October tells. When children pull blankets over their heads, when adults check their locks twice, when we leave all the lights on and still cannot sleep. For every October brings new stories, new disappearances, new encounters with the impossible. And somewhere, another family packs their belongings, leaving behind not just a home but a piece of their sanity. They drive through the October night, hoping distance will erase the memory, but knowing some things cannot be left behind. For the supernatural does not respect boundaries, and October comes to every town. So as you close this video and prepare for sleep, take a moment to look out your window. Is that streetlight empty? Is your phone truly silent? And if you listen carefully to the October wind, you might just hear your name being whispered in the darkness. Sweet dreams.